Let's start the birthday podcast.
The birthday podcast.
Here's really all I want to know.
Yeah.
I have been present for all of my birthdays.
You have. That's true.
As the individual who was challenged with throwing most of them,
Yes.
what would you say your favorite Kevin birthdays were? Top 3.
Okay. First, no question about it. The day you were born.
Oh, we're going literal. The literal birthday.
The literal. Now, we must know that at a certain point, drugs were involved for me, which probably
That explains a lot.
made it even better.
11
right?
pounds, 24 inches. She was definitely on something.
I was on something, and you were born. It was all so civilized. I mean, I went into labor at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Can I just hold up? My birthday, and you're going to talk about your experience?
Well, I want to talk about before you got there. Okay.
Get it? Yeah, fair. Fair enough.
Because you're forcing me into labor.
I needed to come out. I think everybody would have told you I was fully cooked.
Okay. So, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law were at the house. Everybody was asleep, but I got up and I was like, okay, let's get ready. I'll get in the shower.
Right.
My water broke in the shower.
You're welcome.
How civilized is that?
You're welcome.
Right.
Yep.
And then, let's see, I literally curled my hair. I put makeup on. I looked nice. Woke up your dad, said, let's go, right? Went to the hospital. I remember a couple times he was going like, hey, do I get to drive really fast? Is this the part? And I was like, I don't know. Every once in a while I have a contraction. You can do it, drive fast then.
Sure.
Got to the hospital, got hooked up to monitors. And probably about 8 o'clock in the morning, the doctors, the OBs were doing their rounds and went, oh, well, hey there. And they examined me and said, we don't think you're ever going to have this child because we don't actually know what we're touching when we do the exam. As it turned out, it was your back. And 9:33 a.m., had a C-section and a beautiful, large baby boy was born.
Okay, enough about you, Deb.
Yeah.
Let's talk about all the birthdays that you enjoyed of mine.
Okay, so let's see. I think mostly they were older. I mean, you had great parties when you were young.
I will say it's growing up, summer birthdays, tough.
Yeah. Summer birthdays are tough because some of your best friends are on vacation.
That's true.
I mean, July is the vacation month.
It's true.
So, but we had a good neighborhood of kids. So
there was at least kids around that you could force to play with me on my birthday with the offer of cake.
With cake and swag bags
Yep.
for them to take home. I think one of the birthdays that I enjoyed and that you had a great time, your 16th birthday was a surprise.
16th birthday is what I thought of initially because I was supposed to get a car and wouldn't you know it, old Kev did something he shouldn't have done. Yeah. Again, not sure what it was, but it warranted my parents saying you were going to get this beautiful, I think 2-door GMC Yukon. It was going to be crazy nice. I would have been the belle of the high school ball. And what I got was my dad's 1989 baby blue Nissan 4x4 pickup that they cleaned and put new seats and a steering wheel cover on and were like, check this thing out. The car that had been parked in the driveway, not moving for like 3 years.
So we never like said you have to get straight A's or things like that.
Nope.
But
you had to try.
We just felt like maybe you weren't really applying yourself.
Was it grades? It wasn't a thing?
It was grades.
Oh, okay.
It was super easy quarter. We knew that, or super easy semester. We knew it. And so we said to you, Kevin, straight A's, and you get that car. And I mean, we talked about it every week.
What grades did I get?
Straight A's and
a what?
C.
A C. Straight A's and a C.
And a C. And why did you get a C?
Because somebody had it out for me.
There you go. He was a victim.
Somebody didn't want me to have the things that I needed to be successful as a teenage boy.
He was victimized by a geometry teacher.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just so happens I also wasn't good at math.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin, you were fine at math.
Well, clearly I wasn't. I got a C.
No, because you didn't do any of the homework. So, anyways, it was the hardest thing in the world. I mean, we had the car lined up.
Did you feel awful? Did you feel like we are officially overkill parents?
Oh, it was awful. I felt awful. I mean, it was awful, but if nothing else, we're committed to following through on what we say.
Yeah.
We are people of our word.
Yep.
Dad and I, even when the word maybe didn't go like we wanted it to.
I know that he outpaced the majority of kids that we know, including all his friends, but we made a statement and now we're the bad people.
Got to stick by it. So, but this was a great idea. And I don't know if we're too conservative. I mean, people can write in and say whether or not he should have had the car. I still to this day stand by the no. And then they can also do this. We wanted them to have fun at the party, but there were a couple of questionable characters there invited to the party.
Big time.
And we didn't want to be the parents that were completely loitering around, but we also knew that if we left, it was going to be, we knew it would be a problem.
Yep.
So we invited his favorite coach teachers.
Yep.
And we invited them to the party, and they were like maybe 30. I mean, not very old.
That's so weird to think about.
Yeah. And they came and stayed all night, and darn if they didn't make sure that nothing really horrible happened. I
forgot about that. That's great.
Yeah, that was Coach Nick,
Yeah.
right? It was super cool. And I really recommend doing that. And then Daddy and I went out or something. We went to a movie we left so you guys could all have
Deb's
fun.
favorite birthday was the birthday she didn't have to celebrate with me.
I was there for all the food and the surprise and the cake cutting and all that. And then, but that was great because they're used to doing that anyways, right?
Yep.
Those guys are. So it was terrific.
That was a good one. That's what I thought of too. I guess my literal birth would count as well, what you addressed. And then I would say...
Wait, are you going to say or am I going to say? Is it my question?
Oh, sure. I thought you were struggling. I was going to help you.
The other one I was going to say, I mean, I have a couple when you were little, but the one that I'm really is when you flew in late from LA.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay. He lived in LA and he was flying in the day of his birthday.
Yep.
And the flight was a little bit late.
Yep.
It was like 9 or 9:30 at night.
I think it was supposed to get in around 8 and it ended up getting in a little after 9.
And we have like a little patio in the front of our house, but when the trees and everything are full of foliage and in bloom, you can't really see our front yard.
It's a little hidden courtyard.
Little hidden courtyard. And we had all of your friends there and waiting for you. And we had, champagne and dessert and espresso and just everybody in one place at that time. I mean, and then we gave you a nice gift that year too. So it was super fun. Something fun to look forward
trip.
to. So, I mean, that was, I think, a really good one. Both of those were good surprises.
What was it? Didn't we have one at the country club pool one year?
Yep.
And that's just when you just had kids that you'd feed them and they'd go swim and then that was good.
So we had one at Collin Club one year.
Yeah.
We had one at the country club pool one year. We had one year that you said, this was the weirdest, but it was the easiest party ever. You wanted to invite 3 or 4 of your friends and stay in a suite at the Peppermill.
Oh, I remember that.
And with a big hot tub.
Do you remember what song I was listening to?
No.
I had it on repeat.
What was it?
Bad to the Bone.
That seems appropriate.
On repeat.
Seems appropriate.
And I thought I had achieved nirvana. I was listening to Bad to the Bone because I was, and we were given a suite overlooking downtown Reno, which might as well have been the top of the world.
Well, and the thing is, at that time, this is funny because I think if you were a local, you could get a suite for I want to say $79. It wasn't like prohibitively expensive, but they had a pool, they had fun stuff to do. And Dad and I stayed in the room next door and there was a hot tub. So you guys were in and out of the hot tub. And
the carpet was soaked.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. And I think all of you, it was a king size bed, but I think you all piled on the bed. I mean,
sure.
It was grade school.
Listen, I was bad to the bone. I did whatever I wanted, okay?
Exactly.
I was 7 years old or whatever.
Exactly. And then, I mean, when I think about parties at the house. Like you loved it when like we invited the whole neighborhood and, there were like 10 kids on the street. And
Yep.
I can remember one year Dad built the greatest, big, most beautiful, huge sandbox in the world. And it was done just in time for your birthday, filled with sand. And then we gave all the kids buckets and toys. Yep. And you guys did slip and slide. And I mean, it was a great time. Yeah. You've had some good birthdays.
Here's the thing. At 37, I'm just as happy to hang out in suites. I'm just as happy to hang out with friends. And more than anything else, I'm just happy to get a good night's sleep.
Are you happy to do a slip and slide?
That actually sounds terrible. It sounds so bad to me. Let's start the podcast.
Welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. One is a Harvard Business School alum. The other is her son, discussing business, pop culture, family, and everything in between. Now here are your hosts, Deb and Kev.
Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. Sitting right there is the woman who gave birth 37 years ago to whom it would not be possible for this podcast to exist. It's my mom, Deb.
Oh my gosh.
Did I say dead or
you
Deb?
You said dead.
Well, I think people would have assumed if you gave birth to an 11-pound, 24-inch child, that's how it would have ended up. It's my mom, Deb.
I am alive, and I am Deb.
And I'm the 37-year-old who's just happy to still get ID'd.
Yay.
I'm her son, Kev, and this is our podcast. On today's show, in her business segment, Deb is going to give us clarity. Clarity on what you might ask. Well, we'll be making that clear during Deb's business segment about clarity. Because it's my birthday, or at least the day after, I want to play Would You Rather, and so we are going to play Would You Rather, and we will wrap this whole kit and caboodle up by ending the show with what's for dinner and what we are thankful for. But first, if you couldn't hear, I had fun this weekend.
Your voice.
It's
sounds
struggle.
Like you screamed.
It's a bit of a struggle. A group of guys and I drove over to San Francisco. We ended up staying in what is known as the outer Sunset area. So on the west side of the city, very beach town residential.
Oh, nice.
There's literal
Very
beaches in San Francisco. Who knew? With waves. It was 50 degrees and overcast on that side. So
I would love that.
It was beautiful. We've complained about the weather here on every single podcast. So to wake up and have a chill in the air and have the overcast, which I adore, and walking 2 blocks to little coffee shops and little breakfast places, 10 out of 10 would recommend. And then we went over to Pleasanton to the Alameda Fairground horse races.
Ooh, did you bet?
I bet.
Did you win?
I won.
Oh, how much?
Not enough to offset all the losing.
Okay, there you go.
I would say the key moment was when all of us put our, for one race, put all of our bets on the number 1 horse. And we were locked and loaded for the win. And if this wasn't a clear indicator of what was to come, the horse shot out of the gate and immediately stopped.
Oh no.
And every other horse passed him. And that's what happens. That was the race. I walked up to the clerk afterwards and I said, "Does it count if the horse just stops mid-race? Do I get my money back?" And she said, if he's out of the gate, you're out of your bet," or something like that. And I thought, oh, Mom, that's great.
Boy, what a disappointment, huh?
Yeah, we took a bathroom break on the way back to San Francisco, and we were interviewed by the news.
Ooh, for what?
Something about masks. I don't know.
Oh, are they wearing masks in San Francisco?
No, I mean in the Ubers, but masks are not mandatory. But I think it was about LA County making masks mandatory again inside, and so they were doing like a man on the street thing. So we were interviewed for that, celebrity status. We then joined more friends that evening. We went out. I think the raspiness is coming from absolutely dominating karaoke.
Oh, Kev.
My friend Bryce and I, we usually do a little staple of Backstreet Boys' "I Want It That Way." Mm-hmm. And it was a resounding success.
Do you two dance as well?
It's a lot of hip gyration.
Okay.
It's a lot of thrusting. It's a lot of eye contact. We get the crowd involved. We point the microphones directionally at people.
Oh, so they sing along?
You scream, "Tell me why" at the top of your lungs, and they'll tell you why.
That's
It's
awesome.
It's a lot of fun. The next day, the Airbnb we were staying at had a sauna in the back.
I love a good sauna. Nice dry heat.
I like a steam more than a sauna. I think that sauna saved all of us. We were just some grown men in our underwear, sitting in a wooden box that was 175 degrees. We were in there for like 30 minutes. We came back out to the yard. It was 60 degrees, sunny, and we were just in our sweaty underwear, stretching, just having good laughs and conversations. We then, one of my friends wanted a quasi theme, but I don't like to like dress like everybody. I don't like the theme stuff, but we all bought matching top and bottom, like floral print shirts and shorts.
Like pajamas?
No, shirts and shorts.
Are there pictures?
There are.
Can we post them on?
Will depend.
Okay.
Well, maybe.
Come on, people.
Maybe not.
Make sure you say you want it.
Not the matching patterns, but ours matched. So then we at least were all wearing things that looked like they matched. So we weren't wearing
not
the
each
same
other.
thing. But so then we went into the city to another friend's house. I was given the best compliment. There was a huge number 3, a huge number 7, thus 37. And there was a guy who showed up who I didn't know. And he's like, "Oh, hey, it's your birthday." I said, "It is." He's like, "How old are you?" And I pointed to these massive black numbers. And he goes, "That says 37. I said, "Yeah, that's how old I am." He's like, "Do you mean 27? Did they run out of 2s? I said, "No, I'm a big 37. He goes, "Can I see your ID?"
Oh.
Didn't believe me. That made me feel great.
That had to make you feel wonderful.
That made me feel great. Proceeded just to have a fun kind of walk around, bar hop San Francisco experience and ate a lot of cupcakes.
Oh, gluten-free?
Very gluten-free. And called it a night, drove back today, and here we are. It was a lovely, lovely weekend, if my voice is any indicator.
Well, I do love it that you can do a good Backstreet Boy.
It's good.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Awesome. Amazing. Better than the original, I'm sure.
I'm not kidding you. People came up to me afterwards.
Of course they did, because you made a spectacle
and
of
they
yourself.
said, "You brought it." And I said, "I did."
Does Bryce bring it? Is he good?
He brought it.
Okay. All right.
It's you feed off each other for 3.5 minutes. It's not about me, Mom. It's not about me, the performer. It's about the audience. It's what can I give to you?
The karaoke audience.
What can I give to you? It was a packed bar, packed wall-to-wall people. Some say they were there for us. I don't know.
Did the other two do karaoke?
Nope, they did not. That's really just a Bryce and Kev thing.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's just one song.
It's one. You only need one. Leave them wanting more. If you try to go back for 2, I will say this: we started. It went us, then it went like Sweet Caroline, then it was like Pour Some Sugar on Me, and there was just hit after hit after hit. I could take credit for all those other songs, but we were the first ones.
Good for you, honey.
It was fun.
Yay! It sounds like a good birthday.
It's a good birthday. My bank account probably not super stoked.
Yeah, but you can only do that. I mean, I guess your friends should have paid for everything.
They should have.
Right?
They didn't.
I mean,
they didn't. They should have.
Yeah.
Lost my credit card. Don't know where it is. Had it in my wallet.
Did you cancel it?
I did.
Okay, good.
Fully canceled. Got a new one on the way.
Okay, good.
Also, thank you to Liz Dean, who sent me a beautiful birthday card. One of our listeners who we've referenced before. Beautiful birthday card. Thank you for the love from Florida. Amazing.
Yeah.
Want to see something
She's
cool?
The best. Yeah.
Look what my friend John Beebe sent me.
Oh my gosh.
It's a dragon-themed steel chalice.
Oh my God.
And
it's going to be your new D&D thing.
He said, "I don't know anything about D&D, but I think this works." And I said, yeah, bro. I made sure to text everybody about it.
So John might have texted me.
Oh, a little insider
said,
trading.
What is if I wanted to send Kevin something, what is the address?
Okay.
And so I wrote Kevin Senior.
Yep.
Then I wrote the address. And he said something like, I already knew the name. Or, it makes me laugh.
He would know my first and last name.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I said, well, I mean, he's old. I just have every time I see a picture of him and 3 kids, I have to think about how old he is, right?
John?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was just reminding him just in case, But so I didn't
We
know
are
what he
in
was
our
saying.
late 30s. That makes sense. Early onset Alzheimer's is in my future, I guess.
Listen up, boys. Like 2 more years, and then the big 4-0 is going to come around.
What's it? I mean, I think I asked this question to you last year. What's it like being the mother of a 37-year-old?
Not any different than it was being the mother of a 36-year-old.
Yeah, fair.
I'm sort of just staying where I am. I've decided I like this place.
Yep.
That I am the age I am. Every once in a while, people go, "Oh, you can't be that old." That makes me feel great.
Deb, as many people say to me, you can't be your age. I hear equally, if not as many more people say to you, you can't be your age. And I look at them and I say, she is 45.
Exactly. And so I'm just going to maybe stick to this age, right? For a few years. Why not? I've never really lied about my age, but I could.
I lied about my age all weekend.
Good for you.
There's not a single person walking around San Francisco who knows my age.
Because you told everybody something
It was
different.
a lie fest.
Good for you.
And I felt great about it.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I mean, while your voice sounds like you're going to die.
Yeah, I feel like it.
Well, your voice sounds like you're going to die. I was going to say, where's this? You've got a little spark of adrenaline.
I'm going to keep it together for this show, and I'm going to go eat dinner and crash so hard.
Good for you. Good.
Thanks.
For you. That's what it should be.
I agree.
I feel bad. I posted a really cute picture of you. Well, there's one picture I posted.
Saw it.
Did you see the one with the bonnet?
Yep.
Have you ever seen that picture
All
before?
my friends showed it to me that follow you.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It's something.
Okay, so that one's on my Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, yeah, it sure
I found
is.
that picture and went, oh my God, this is it.
Give us some backstory. Why is a little chubby boy wearing a bonnet?
Okay, so I had found this beautiful knit kind of one-piece thing to put a newborn in, right? And it was all white, but it just had blue embroidery across the chest, a little blue to show that it was a boy. But it
was still girl vibes.
Well, the hood with the ruffle on it.
Yeah, still very milkmaidy girl vibes.
But I loved it so much.
Great.
And it was somehow handmade in Italy or something, one of those.
Sure. I mean, if it came from
ridiculous
Italy.
things. And so it was this is what he will wear home from the hospital. I was committed no matter what.
What's my facial expression look like?
Okay, you don't look happy.
I look like the most self-aware baby boy who's like, what the F did this woman just put me in?
Did you see how many chins you had?
Yeah, because I was totally distraught. I was my head was sucked in. I didn't know what this thing was. I just wanted to go back to this nice warm place. And now I'm dressed up like some Amish orphan.
I found that picture and I pondered and pondered and then I went, I got to do it,
Yeah, I think everybody but me thanks you for that.
So, posted that and got lots of good remarks.
Clearly.
Only one person mentioned the bonnet, and we've got to give it to Samantha all day long, who said something like, hey, what is with that? So, she gets the
I didn't know
prize.
you guys were Quakers.
And then Kelly from PJ's said, "What's I'm so excited to hear about Kevin's surprise." You want to say, Kelly?
Oh yeah, me too. What?
There is no surprise.
Deb, you know that I like surprises. Everybody knows I like surprises. What's the surprise?
There's no surprise.
Guys, when we're done recording this podcast, I'll record myself and to share everybody what the upcoming surprise is.
Might not be a surprise.
The surprise is Kevin getting through this podcast. That's the surprise.
Oh my goodness. So anyways, the whole world wished you, little Lizzle from Florida said happy birthday Dizzle. So, it was all good.
It was wonderful. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. All of you are near and dear and true, and I appreciate it. It's always, even if just for one day, because you like Deb, you deal with me, I appreciate the birthday wishes.
It was good. It was all good fun.
Deborah, let's talk about clarity in the workplace. That's a extremely broad topic.
Pretty
but
big.
I think a lot of people, when they ask for clarity, They're asking, where are we going? Meaning, we know the end game for everybody is to make money by selling goods or a service. How do we get there? What direction are we pulling? How do I play a role in us achieving that end game of millions and millions and trillions of dollars?
So are we scheduled to have like a 30-day segment here, or is that how it's going to work?
Well,
today?
This is your topic, Deb, so you let me know where you want to go with it.
So I think if we let's squish it down a little bit.
Absolutely.
Right?
I think a condensed version might help people.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I think is, I'm going to say leadership responsibility, not necessarily the CEO, but it kind of belongs there.
Yep.
Is, we want our CEO or whoever our leader is, because sometimes it's not the CEO, and the CEO really has a person that, let's call him a CVO, a Chief Visionary Officer.
Oh,
right?
CVO.
We just made that up, but let's use it.
Sure.
Okay. What we need is a Chief Visionary Officer. It can be the CEO, it can be somebody else. But what that person often does is they look at it from a 10,000 foot level, and they're kind of, throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what'll stick in terms of ideas, right? That person is generally not dirty details, like all the little minutia to get there. They're counting on the rest of us to carry that load. But there's information we need. We need to know, what is the visionary's timeline? Is it 6 months? Is it 3 years, right? What is the visionary's, what is our budget to get there? I mean, that's a huge component of it. How much manpower can we actually throw at that particular goal, if you will? So I think what ends up happening is we have these great meetings. Everybody comes out super enthusiastic because visionary people pump us up and make us excited. And then we leave not quite knowing where to begin. Therein, the need for clarity, right?
Sure.
So really what has to happen is all those, I'm going to call them nuts and bolts people, the ones that are actually in charge of building it and putting it together and making sure it works and making sure it's successful. Those people have 1,000 questions. And sometimes they're really not allowed to have the conversation that they need to have for complete clarity. So if for instance, I was put in charge of a project, and I think I'm a fairly good project manager type. I could put it all together. I could guide the people in what they needed to do. But if I just went on my merry way thinking in my own head, this is for sure a 6-month project, and I'm thinking 6 months, boy, if we can get it done in that period of time, we have knocked it out of the ballpark, right? When my chief visionary person had really thought can this be done in a few weeks? Because they don't know everything that goes into it. I end up with a big fail. They're frustrated with me. And it really was just that we didn't have the time or opportunity, or we didn't think about getting the absolute clarity on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when I think of this topic, I think so many people just assume, well, we all know what we're trying to accomplish here, right? X, Y, and Z, sell this product, sell this service, and maintain fantastic customer service along the way, right? So that we never lose anybody. But there are so many different avenues to get to that potential goal. And it's not that we're so rigid that these 5 avenues are the things that have worked for the last 20 years, and those are the only things that are going to work. There's obviously some fluidity in there. But I think a lot of employees would tell you is just being a cog in a system that already has worked prior to you and can probably work after you. Is that enough? And does the quote unquote clarity come from the systems or the people in the systems, governing the systems? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the clarity has to come from the people. So you are involved in an industry that I know just enough about to be dangerous. And I only know about it from listening to you talk,
sure.
Right? So I might say to you, if you were my employee, I might say to you, I really want this like cool digital media thing. And I mean, and then I know with you, I'm going to use the wrong words. Do you know what I mean? Like for sure, I don't have your language down. And so the words I use could have different meaning, right? Than what you think it is.
Which happens all the time.
Happens all the time between us. I mean, people say, my funniest thing, because I say this to people all the time, people say, he or she does my SEO. They don't even have any idea what that means. Of
course.
They don't even know what they're paying for, right? And so, but if I said to you, so, I want a short video. I want it to have really upbeat music. Here's the customer for it. I want it to be... I want it to have a heart component, but mostly I want it to make people feel joyful. Now, let's go back and dissect that. What is short to you and what is short to me?
It's a lot of adjectives. Yeah, exactly. What is short? Define short.
So short to me might be like 7 minutes.
Right.
And short to you is 20 seconds.
Totally.
Right? So it might be like upbeat. I'm thinking like old school songs, right? Like things that... wedding music that you could play where everybody gets up and dances.
Everybody understands it.
You're thinking of something hip and cool, like by today's standards.
Correct.
Right? I'm thinking like a heartfelt thing. And you're thinking like, well, the film itself, meaning the photography, will capture the heartfelt thing. I'm thinking, well, shouldn't there be words or music? Do you see what I mean?
1,000%.
All the places we can get it confused. Partly because I genuinely don't understand.
Well, but partly because you have your belief of words and visuals and songs resonate with you. I'm just using this example as to further elaborate. And I have mine. We are two entirely different people, although we have a ton of overlap. You and I can think of something beautiful and conjure up dramatically different images in our head. And that's how I think about clarity in the workplace. I have a belief as an individual how we can accomplish the end goal better for me. You have a belief of how you can accomplish the end goal better for you. And if you're the boss, you believe you have the same visual for everybody. But how do we mash our two together where it's not just me flailing, right? Trying to implement all the ideas that I have, thinking I have the right path simply because I'm Kevin. And how do you acknowledge that while simultaneously saying, yes, this thing changes all of the time, but I know this and this works. Here are the elements that could potentially change. Because what you don't want to do is just have somebody constantly trying to reinvent the wheel. But at the same time, if somebody's really good and they have decent ideas and they could be implemented, you just don't know that they need to be.
So one of the things that I don't think we do enough, and I want to say especially in large corporations, is, a CEO can't be in charge of 5,000 people, meaning he can't manage 5,000 people.
Right.
He's managing that circle around him. They're managing the circle around them, on and on and on. So what ends up happening is it's a little bit like a game of phone, right? The visionary says this to his people. Those people take it to the next level, whatever. It may not, number one, be the exact same message by the time it gets to the implementers, the people that are executing the project. I think one of the things that we fail to do, so if you're the guy that genuinely has the information, you're it, and you're explaining to me, I'm your boss and I have access to the CEO. You're explaining to me how it's really going to mean, and you're saying, well, wait, is short 20 minutes? Is short 10 seconds? What is short? And I'm like, oh, we didn't talk about that, right?
Right.
One of the things that you have to do at some point in time is stop the game of phone. And at that point, I drag you into the CEO's office. Whether you know each other or not, I introduce you. I say, hey, Kevin is our guy, right? I want to hash this out with the three of us right now so that we have complete clarity. And I think also Kevin has some good insight for us about the people who our actual customer is and what they're going to be thinking and wanting, right? So I think we missed that point of bringing the true decision makers and implementers together.
Right.
And then the other part of it that I think is that we just We are busy. We don't take the time to hash out adjectives, to let people ask enough questions. We're impatient, right? We just think everybody knows what's in our head or what's in our vision. And my vision is only in my mind.
Sure.
It is my job to completely break it down with people. But I want to say, as far as clarity, I want to touch on one other thing, clarity in conversation. I think that we've talked before about how some people talk in catastrophic language.
Oh, yeah.
Where everything feels like a real big deal.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't offer clarity because everything feels like a really big deal.
Doomsday.
And the other part we don't do, we sort of sometimes try to throw things that I would say are quasi-important in hallway walking by each other talk. So, and I'm not saying that everything needs a meeting, but there are a lot of things that need time, meaning even 10 minutes to sit down, look at each other, hammer that thing out so that we do have clarity and so that we can move on. Because I think lack of clarity is one of the biggest problems in the workplace. And then we end up with redundancy, doing the same thing over and over when we had never wanted to spend that much time with it. I also think that clarity really comes in when we're talking to people about performance. I know one of the things I've said 1,000 times, and I try so hard to keep this voice when I'm talking in difficult situations, especially if I have to use words that are tough words to hear. And like the other day, I was talking to a group of managers at a company, one in particular. So we're on a Zoom, we're all together. And I have to say to one of them, is your plate clean? Because he was talking about managing his staff. And he professes that it was. And we all knew it wasn't. And then I had to kindly tell him, your plate's not clean.
Right.
And here's why, and here's why. Now, those were difficult words for him to hear. I'm a fan of this guy. I like him, right? So I saw he was struggling. I mean, you could see it on his face. And so somebody else said something. And then right after that, I said, listen, I'm a fan. You need to know I'm a fan. But this is the part we've got to iron out, right? Because what do I want? I mean, I don't want to beat him up to beat him up. What I want is the thing to change. And I want him to understand his role in it.
Right.
So we are going to stay there and talk. And our goal is to search for mutual clarity, right? So that I understand his situation and can help him and to develop and grow if he needs it. But he can also understand the owner's situation, which I'm helping to represent, right?
Yeah.
So I think the thing with clarity is I think sometimes we don't know where we're going and we're really telling people like, go find, wherever, and they don't know where to go. I think parts of clarity are, it's uncomfortable. And so we don't want to say the exact words.
But do you think it's uncomfortable because there's an individual who either doesn't ultimately know what they're trying to express, or the other person feels as though they're coming across as too dense?
I think it's a combination of both. And I think here's one of the things. So there was a company that I worked with where a manager was not doing a very good job. And I really think it was because he hadn't been trained and developed enough, but clearly wasn't doing a good job. And there was one particular employee where they were just really going at each other. We've now worked with the manager, doing much better, I would say. And one of the things that I pointed out was in talking to the person that he used to really, go at it with, that person now says, oh, things are much better. He listens to me.
Oh, there you go.
So, the point that I tried to make with the manager is he thought that person's behavior would never change. Well, he changed his behavior, and guess what? The other person's behavior changed too, right? And that's the kind of the component we forget is he never listened to me was key before. It was the thing that was creating part of the problem. And I think that manager was kind of I'm the manager, do what I say kind of thing. Right?
Yep.
And this guy, the other guy, it was really important. You didn't have to do all his stuff, his ideas, but he wanted them heard. And he wanted to know that you genuinely heard them. Right? And so I do think that kind of the clarity in that piece of it is the manager understanding really what the employee wants from him. And from every employee, it's different. So what do you have to do? You have to take time. You have to kind of get to know. You have to be patient. Sometimes you have to manage yourself and adapt a little bit. But one of the things that I say at any place in life, in any relationship, when we always say, well, so-and-so will never change, sometimes our changing ourselves in a positive way will precipitate change in them.
Clear enough for you?
Is it clear enough for you, Kev?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think so. I mean, ultimately, I think what it comes down to is being accountable for what you're saying and what you're doing and having a true understanding of why you're doing it. Pushing back when you think it's necessary, but understanding that if this thing was successful before you, it'll probably be successful after you. But if there are things that you can add along the way that can help or streamline or make it better, then it's up to you to say that. And then acknowledge if that's a workplace that's conducive to those type of conversations. And if it's not, or if somebody's too scared, or if somebody's too stuck in their ways, then your opinion probably doesn't hold as much weight as it would somewhere else.
I can remember years and years and years ago, my friend Deb had something, we were at a coffee shop and there was something she wanted to tell me. And I mean, Deb had no filter and no trouble expressing herself. Okay. And yet she kept looking at me like almost like a shy, timid person that couldn't tell me this thing. And we're just sitting there and it was the days of newspapers and stuff. I pull a newspaper over and I grab a pencil and I go, write it. And she kind of looked at me and I go, just write it. Because clearly she wanted to tell me, but she wouldn't say it. Right. And she wrote it down. And I looked at it, and I mean, it was kind of a big deal, right? I could see why she didn't want to
I'm going to murder the president of the United States.
Kind of along those lines. And I said, Deb. And then I started talking, right? So I do think there are things that for one party or the other are difficult to say. But we've got to find even our baby squeaky voice and get it out until we can own our bigger voice, right? And just say, I can't work this way when I don't know, right?
Yeah.
And that's really, I can't imagine that any manager would be upset when that kind of clarity hasn't been provided for a project or an objective or a goal.
Also, I think it's up to a manager to be able to say, I have a vision of this thing, but I ultimately don't know how we even come close to getting there.
Exactly, because typically visionaries don't always know how to build the path.
Right.
They just know where they want to get. They typically may not even know a timeline. Like that might be where we have to pull the visionary down with all the project manager people and where he says, I mean, like, am I asking the impossible in this timeline? And they're all nodding yes. Do you know what I mean? So then what is the realistic timeline? And then if we're willing to bust our humps or work overtime or throw everything we have at it, can there be a timeline that gets to what they want?
Sounds good to me. Clarity is the place to be.
Oh, that was a cute little rhyme.
Thank you. Write that down. Save that for later. That's a Kevin Zener.
7-year-old Kevin.
It's a Kevin Zener trademark, but you guys can have that for free.
Yeah.
No requests necessary. All right, Deborah, we have some would you rathers. Are you ready to play would you rather? Would you rather play would you rather yes, or would you rather play would you rather no?
So I'm going to tell you this.
Okay.
I was at an event recently.
Okay.
And somebody said, let's do icebreakers.
Okay.
Which I thought were just, something about yourself.
Icebreakers have this bizarro connotation where like icebreakers, if they're not called icebreakers, are fun, meaning they're just questions to stoke conversation. But when somebody says icebreaker, I immediately assume of like professional awkwardness, and then I don't want to do it.
Exactly. All the icebreakers were definitely would you rathers. That's what they were. So, which then it was fun,
1,000%. Our would you rathers probably wouldn't be great in a professional setting, but
Maybe
also
not.
you and I aren't the best in professional settings when together either. So that makes sense.
But don't sit us together, whatever you do.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Would you rather number one, and you're going to think this is easy up front, but then I'm going to complicate it. Would you rather have to use chopsticks every day for the rest of your life, or only use a spoon every day for the rest of your life. Now, a billion people can't be wrong using chopsticks. The Asian community can clearly finesse their way through a meal with chopsticks.
Because their stuff is cut up.
And a lot of time, all of their food is accessible via two sticks.
Right.
Our food is a little different.
Steak and baked potatoes a little harder.
Exactly.
Corn on the cob?
You might say, Kevin, there's a bit of a workaround. When I order my steak from a fine dining establishment, I'm going to ask them to cut it up for me.
Yeah.
To which I'm going to say, okay, psycho, but they'll happily do that for you. But then you're still taking massive pieces of filet to the mouth with chopstick and then not being able to eat, at least cleanly, mashed potatoes or potatoes au gratin or cream spinach or soup. You're eating
soup for sure.
You're eating a salad with chopsticks.
Yeah. Yeah. So ice cream with chopsticks.
Ice cream with chopsticks, not even a possibility.
That's tough.
You can do it right up front, but if you're a slow eater with ice cream or you're sitting outside or you go get like froyo,
yeah, impossible.
You have to eat it up front, then just wait for it to melt and then just drink it.
Or just kind of lick it, get it big enough. Yeah, so my first inclination was chopsticks.
Chopsticks work well for the food that chopsticks works well for.
Right.
Chopstick doesn't work well for us, for instance.
Yeah. Only because I was thinking most stuff would come cut up. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking if worst comes to worst, I can stab something with my chopstick.
True.
And get it to my mouth,
yep.
right? And if you really look, I'm not super, super adept with chopsticks, but if you see somebody that's grown up with them and it is like a masterful thing.
Yeah, it's an extension of their hand.
I'm totally cool anymore. And I did this from watching Asian people eat. They don't leave 3 feet between the bowl.
No, it's right up. It's right up. Nestled up there.
It's nestled up, and I'm okay doing that. I've moved to that because that's what works, yep. Right? But I'm thinking of all these soft, beautiful foods that we eat that a spoon would be so nice to have.
Yeah.
This is a tough one.
I just think of the hilarity of trying to eat the obvious answer is like proteins, right? Proteins would be horrible with a spoon, but you're not cutting. You're just like circling everything when you use a spoon to cut.
It is like you look like a toddler. Let's be honest.
1,000%. Yeah. I just think for what our household eats, spoons make more sense.
For what our household eats, yes, 100% spoons. But I will say this. If I think about going to a restaurant and I have to pull out my chopsticks.
Oh, yeah. They're like, look at this white ass lady pulling out chopsticks to eat at this French restaurant.
And then I pull out a spoon.
Yeah.
The spoon seems far more offensive than the chopsticks.
And here's the thing. At least if you have the spoon, there's the other silverware around. You can't use it. You can only use a spoon. It's not like multiple spoons.
I can't use the dessert spoon and the soup spoon.
It's a spoon. At least it kind of conforms with what's being laid out in front of you. The chopsticks, that's a third party pull out of your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can be just annoying and ask if they...
Think how often we eat Mexican.
Yeah.
Mexican is a whole weird... Like, I guess you
a burrito. You could hand it unless it was a wet burrito, and then you're spooning
enchilada.
It. Yeah.
Like a taco, I guess you just do with your hands, right? I can still use my hands.
Yeah, of course.
Which
you don't have spoon fingers.
Which in a French restaurant.
I'm just gonna eat this cordon bleu just hand to mouth.
My ego wants to go with the chopsticks. The practical side of me wants to go with the spoon.
I'm team spoon.
So I think I'm gonna have to go with the spoon.
I'm team spoon. Yeah. I respect everybody that uses chopsticks, but I just think for how and what I eat, it's a spoon. It's got to be a spoon.
If somebody's willing to cut my meat, I'm with the spoon.
That's funny. Would you rather always have the same song stuck in your head or always have an itch that you can't scratch? Same song, and I'll let you pick the song, but it's the same.
Well, it's only one of 3 songs.
But here's the thing. It really ultimately doesn't matter what the song is. You're going to go nuts from it anyways. And it's just like, it's an ebb and a flow thing. Like the song's stuck in your head. It's funny. It's catchy. Then you wake up in the middle of the night humming the song and you're like, what the F?
Yeah.
And then you kind of forget about it, but then it perks back up in your head.
Yep.
It's just this undulation of
but an itch.
familiarity.
So here's the thing that I read years and years ago. Don't know if it's true, but I believe it. I've read that like a mosquito bite, which I got last night, it woke me up. A mosquito bite, like that itching is a threshold to pain, but not quite there. Does that make sense?
Meaning it lets you know that there's pain coming, or that if you don't do something, pain is on the way?
No, pain may never arrive, but it's the precursor to pain, which the itching can almost be worse than pain itself.
Got it. It's the prelude to
the
potential
prelude
pain coming.
Yes. So I feel like when I have something itching, like I could lose my mind.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of things we can do now. And to the listening audience, I do want to say this. Oregano oil on a mosquito bite works very well. However, that tingling you get, and then you have to pay attention to it because it turns into a real itch. And then you shouldn't be itching it, right? Whatever it is, because you don't want it to turn into something more than what it is. Like, is that worse than a...
Well, I was going to say, is the conversation, what eventually do you become numb to? Do you eventually become numb to the soundtrack of your life, which is the song stuck in your head forever? Or do you become numb to the itch? I don't know that you can become numb to the itch. You can turn your brain off. I mean, you will fall asleep. You might wake up with
Bruno Mars.
Exactly. But you can do you ever become numb to a physical issue?
I don't think so. I think I have to live with Bruno Mars in my head all the time. That's where I'm going to go. Eventually his voice will fade.
No, that's the catch here, Deb. It won't fade. It's stuck in your head for forever.
I'm just making friends with him and we're going to be okay. But it's better. Here's the thing.
Hey, Bruno, want to know a weird fact? I literally can't get you out of my mind ever.
Ever. Here's the thing, though. We know that just from the process of living, we can be at least distracted from Bruno. The itch is hard to distract from.
Totally.
So I'm going to go Bruno.
Yeah, I think it has to be the song. I don't know that there's... if I can't scratch an itch, which is just like the most human thing in the world, I mean, there's sayings about it. If I can't do that, I'm just going to be the most miserable human being in the world. But if I'm just, humming something or something that exists in my brain, then that's fine. I can just be crazy as opposed to lashing out physically.
Because I worry on the scratching thing, like, do you turn it into a wound? And then you're a crazy person. Does it turn into a big deal thing? Like, I don't...
Oh, you would try to scratch it even though you knew it wouldn't do anything? Mm-hmm. Oh, see, I don't know that I'd go that far.
Yeah.
And now we're just talking about open wounds.
Yeah, that's
no
awful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Would you rather be trapped in a small room, we'll say this office,
okay,
with 10,000 tarantulas?
That's a lot.
For 10 minutes.
Yeah. For 10 minutes.
Or would you eat 10 dead cooked tarantulas in 10 minutes?
Eat the dead cooked tarantulas.
Really?
No question about it. No question about it.
You would eat them?
Are they like fried?
Yeah. I mean, they're prepared in whatever traditional tarantula dish.
Gonna eat them all
You're
day
going
long.
to eat one a minute.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure.
You're going to fear factor this thing.
I'm going to fear factor.
That's insane. I'm just standing in the room.
They're going to crawl all over you in 10 minutes.
You
will have nightmares for the rest of your life.
It doesn't say anything about killing them. It doesn't say anything about fending them off. I cannot fathom the idea of hoovering 10 tarantulas.
In a heartbeat, I would do it.
That makes me want to puke just thinking about it.
So do I look forward to it? No. But I do want to say if they're fried, then, fried is fried. It's crunchy. It's good. I'm just going to chew it up and swallow it.
To be fair, spiders are the crabs of the land.
Is that what they are?
I think so. They have an exoskeleton.
Yes.
The meat's on the inside.
I just think, first of all, I have to be able to walk in the room. Am I going to step on some? That's so creepy. I mean, like, are tarantulas going to get on me? Yes, they are. For 10 minutes is a long time. That is scarring for the rest of my life. If the tarantulas, somebody had to catch them, kill them, and cook them, that's a whole different deal.
I know, but I just think after your 10 minutes, you've got a gut full of tarantulas. And after my 10 minutes, you're conquered scarred. Nature.
Nope, you're emotionally scarred forever.
Probably, but here's the other thing, Deb. I'm already emotionally scarred for having lived life for 37 years. I don't. You couldn't get me to. You could not get me to eat those things. And I'm a huge advocate of eating insects. Insects are a renewable resource. Tons of other people all across this world eat insects. I can't do it. I cannot do it. They're so big. They're
the only
huge.
Thing, like when I watch Survivor, they always have that segment where they have to eat things.
Oh, yeah.
The crunchy dead things, I'm kind of all about. I mean, like that feels like you can say to yourself, that's something else.
But eating a cricket, sure.
But eating like a grub that's still moving, oh God.
Well, yeah.
That's soft and creepy.
I mean, would it be different if I said that the tarantulas were alive?
I wouldn't eat it if it were alive. I'd go stand in the room.
Yeah, fair enough. This is a funny one. Would you rather have to wash your hair with dish soap?
Oh, I know. I know that. I've done that.
Or wash your dishes with a bar of soap?
Oh, like this is forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Gonna wash the dishes with a bar of soap.
Think about the absurdity of washing a dish, a hard porcelain dish with a Dove bar of soap. No. You're not using your hands for any of it.
So here's what you do. You take, how we have the sponges with the rough side.
No, there is no sponge.
Oh, wait. The thing doesn't say there's no sponge.
You're using a bar of soap. I think that's implied.
It doesn't mean you don't have a utensil.
It's not lather up the sponge with the bar of soap. It's a bar of soap.
Do you... Literally your hair...
Think about just running the bar against the plate.
Do you still get to have conditioner?
No, I don't think so. I think it's implied that you just use dish soap.
Everybody out there who is old enough, who has at one point run out of shampoo and has resorted to dish soap.
Strips your hair.
Strips your hair. No. I'm going to do the bar of soap. I will grate the bar of soap. I will do something to make it work. But I care less about my dishes than I do my hair.
I'm not saying I disagree with you. I just think the novelty of somebody coming over to your house and be like, hey, don't worry, I'll wash the dishes. And you're like, you really don't want to.
Yeah.
They're like, no. Well, I mean, this is weird that this Dove bar is here. You're like, yeah, well, that's how we wash the dishes. And then just seeing them like press the small end against it and then use their hand to like whip up a lather. I think that would be the worst. Now, if you have a dishwasher, that's great, but you still think times where you have to get food off of a plate, and God forbid you left it in the microwave too long.
Dry cheese.
Imagine just a bar of Ivory soap. You're just trying to literally pick off the fried cheese. Yeah. Dish soap for your hair. Now, I don't wash my hair but once every 5 days. Like I get it wet. Every day, but I don't put any shampoo or conditioner in it. So that's not a stretch to me to be like, okay, at least I'm letting the natural oils come back in the hair. But the idea of coming out of the shower, using a towel to dry it off, my hair is short, and it would be fried, just standing up, Doc Brown style from Back to the Future, and then trying to do anything with it afterwards.
I think mine would just fall out in clumps. I mean, Kevin, I can remember when I was young, they didn't have conditioner. My hair was down to my waist at one point. My mom would lay me kind of on the counter and do it in the kitchen sink. And then I just remember the dreaded comb out of the wet hair with no...
It was really just a pull out because it was just ripping out strands of hair.
Mom, and her yelling at me to hold still. I mean, horrible.
Okay, this is one. It's not one we've done. I've done a variation on one we've done here.
Well, wait,
okay,
did we pick? I picked shampoo.
I mean, it's got to be you picked bar of soap.
Bar of soap.
Yeah.
Right.
If it was shampoo, it's different. It's a liquid. You might be able to get away with it.
I picked bar of soap.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, you're just the insane family on the block. It's like, have you ever been to the Zeners? Yeah. Why? The bar of soap thing's weird, right? Like, yeah. And here's the other thing. They make you do the dishes afterwards. They won't do them. They make the guests do them.
Because they're so sick of the bar
Exactly.
of soap.
Yeah. There's a lot of old food on the dishes. Don't go over there. Would you rather know the exact time of your death? So like 8:27 a.m. or know the thing that will end your life like a bird? Now, here's how I envision this. Okay. Here's how I envision this.
Does it say like a bird?
Yeah. Here's how I envision this.
It doesn't.
It says it right there, like a bird.
Okay.
Here's how I envision
I don't
this.
know if that's true.
You choose one of these options.
Okay.
And this thing flashes in your head.
Yeah.
So you say, I want to know the exact time I die. It doesn't give you the date. It doesn't give you the year.
Okay.
It gives you the time.
Okay.
8:27 a.m. Or
no, I'm going with the time.
Or
for sure.
you want to say, or it says the thing that will end your life.
Yeah.
And then a picture of a crow pops up in your head. You don't know that crow is going to be the thing that comes down and rips your eyeballs out and uses your mouth as a nest moving forward. But that crow could get caught in a plane engine where you're flying to Phoenix and that causes your plane to crash. 8:27 every day for the rest of your life. You're like, oh my God, it's 8:26. Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
And for then a minute out of every day for the rest of your life, you are in pure terror.
Gonna go with the time, no matter what.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because I think.
What if I change the bird to like
a crane falling on me?
A blender.
No, yeah. See, I don't even want to know any. Like, do you know where my brain could go with a blender? I mean, like, oh my God, you stuck your hand in there.
But think about it. You at least know that a blender has to be on to truly be dangerous. If you ever enter a room and you hear, I mean, you stay away from Jamba Juice. That goes without saying. You definitely don't do any cold pressing juice anymore. But like, there are things with a blender where you're like, okay, well, assuming that they don't use the glass part to bash my head in.
So what happens if the mob mistakes me for somebody that did something bad to them?
Okay.
And I'm tied up in a chair now in some warehouse somewhere.
Oh, the mob's just turned into torture. Okay.
And I hear a blender in the background.
Not great for you.
It's not great.
At least you know how it's going to end, though.
I got to go with the time all day long.
I don't think I could do the time. I don't think I could do the time because...
I mean, do you, like if you're sitting in your bedroom, do you just think you're going to have a heart attack?
Maybe.
I think I would go to bed really late at night and sleep past 8:27 every day.
And then you died at 8:27 in your sleep, which isn't the worst thing in the world.
That would be awesome.
I don't think I could just live with it every day, every single day.
It's like Kevin, it's like a minute and a half of...
Well, no, it would be a minute.
A minute. Yeah.
It would just be a minute.
Yeah.
I would get... Here's the thing. I would just want the image because I want it to just be something outrageous.
The image is going to turn into a different image.
It's a Russian nesting doll.
Yeah. Oh.
I'd be like, oh, interesting.
So how did I end up in Russia? And then they put me in a little tiny spot.
I don't know that I ended up in Russia. We have Russian nesting dolls here.
You start thinking that stuff.
But here's what I know. I will think about 8:27 every single day.
You don't think you're going to think about a crow pecking your eyes out?
No, because eventually I'm just going to forget about the Russian nesting doll.
Eventually I'm just going to forget about the time.
No, you won't.
I mean,
You'll never forget about the time.
One morning I got busy and I just didn't think about it.
And wham! A crow comes and plucks your eyes out.
I'm going with the time.
Fair enough. I'm going to take whatever inanimate object is conjured in my head.
Okay.
That makes it more fun for me.
When I walk by you, I'm going to go, blender, crow.
When I walk by, I'm going to say, have fun, 8:27. Okay, would you rather? That's great. I hope you guys played along. I hope you picked your choices, and I hope nobody dies. Deb, let's wind this down. Besides my birth, what are you thankful for?
That was going to be my thankful.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
My thankful
I was giving you an out.
So my thankful is your birth.
Thank you.
You're 37 years old.
Oh, God.
I'd say for the most part, it's been a pleasure the entire time.
Until the podcast started, everything was pretty great.
Started. For those of you that don't know, he was born at 9:33 in the morning.
That's true.
And so a very civil time. I
it was proper. I gave you the rest of the day.
You gave me the rest of the day. And he was big, 11 pounds, 24 ounces, 11 pounds, 24 inches.
Yeah, 24 ounces would not be that.
Which we've said we think is a big baby.
Yep.
And I don't know. I just think like every year at this time, I think of it. You know that I always say something like at 9:33, if I'm not with you, you're being born right now.
Yep.
It's a big deal to me. I think your birthday is a bigger deal to me than my birthday is. I think once you have children, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, because you had something to do with it.
And I can also concentrate on the number 37 instead of the number of 67,
Yep.
right? You know, but no, the biggest, I'm grateful, and always will be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for having been born.
There you go.
And that's it. No, I'm clearly thankful to be surrounded with friends and family to celebrate occasions like this with. I think we all agree that after, I don't even know the number, but after a certain number, birthdays just become a reason for you to force people to hang out with you and force family to do something nice for you. I'm fortunate that I don't have to force anybody to do either of those things. I have a loving family and great friends who, for whatever reason, decide to spend time with me and give me gifts, even though I don't need or want anything.
Well, then I'll take mine back.
Perfect. And so I'm just super duper happy that this week was full of love and experiences and just getting everything back to normal and being able to celebrate and be with one another. It's a good feeling. It's nice.
Good feeling. It's a very good feeling.
All right, Deb, technically this is not my birthday. My birthday was yesterday, so we don't have a birthday dinner planned. But what is for dinner this evening?
So we're going to make something that we have made a gazillion times. It started off as a pasta salad in the restaurant.
Ooh.
It then turned into a pasta bake. And we, at least you and I, maybe not Dad, can probably make it with our eyes closed.
Yeah, it's more of
But
assembling.
We love it.
Yeah.
I mean, every time we make it, we look at each other and go, this is so good. So it's a pesto pasta bake with sun-dried tomatoes and chicken and all sorts of cheeses and
onions and pine nuts. Yep.
It is so good. So that's what we're going to have.
And here's what's great. With all the cheese, with all the pasta, with all the pesto, it's low fat, it's low carb,
no dairy,
dairy free. It's just really easy on the midsection and not hard to digest at all. And you definitely poop later.
Ours is gluten-free pasta.
True.
So there. That's a plus.
That is a plus. Love it. It's a staple. Everybody enjoys it. I've made it for all of my friends. They all thoroughly enjoy it. And it's nice and it's fairly easy.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, that's it. Unless you got a big surprise for me. Oh, she looks like she does. Oh, here it comes.
There were no surprises this year.
Dang it.
It was a no surprise year. See, folks, this is what I go through all the time.
Well, that's going to do it for the Deb and Kev podcast.
Is over. The birthday is over, and he's still looking for surprises.
The surprise is he's still alive.
He's still alive. There you go.
That will, in fact, do it for this week's episode of the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like, rate, and review wherever you listen to this podcast. That's your birthday gift to me.
Oh.
Liking, rating, and reviewing wherever you listen to it. Just let me know so that I can feel better about you and solidified in our friendship, even if I don't know you.
Tell a friend. Tell a friend.
And then you can follow us on all of our social channels at Deb and Kev Pod. And you can watch this birthday special. It's not really a birthday special. On our YouTube channel at Deb and Kev Pod. Again, if you want to do something nice for me, it's my big 3-7.
3-7, but remember, add them up. It's a 10. It's
right.
A master number.
You want to be affiliated with a master number? Then feel free to watch this at our YouTube channel at Deb and Kev Pod. Mom, I love you to death.
I love you, baby.
We'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. Follow Deb and Kev on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter at Deb and Kev Pod.